Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome to Nightingale. This is kind of a fun new survival crafting game that I just found out about on Steam a couple of days ago. A big shout out to Scott Smager for hooking me up with the developer code for this, and thank you to the developers for providing a code for it. So aside from that, this is not a sponsored video or anything. I just wanted to take a look at the first hour of gameplay similar to what we did with Enshrouded and check out some of these new survival crafting games as they pop up in early access this year. So I've played about 2 hours of this so far, but we're going to start a brand new profile here so I can take you folks through character creation. I guess we'll start with this guy. We can change a bunch of the characteristics a little bit later. We'll dial the age up to closer to my age. We'll just stick with voice set 1. There only seem to be 2. And then as far as ancestry goes, this is the really interesting part because you can start off choosing a bit of your character's background. You can be a hermit or an aristocrat or an academic. I'm going to go with ne'er-do-well just because I like the outfit here. You can zoom out with the scroll wheel and see a bit more of the outfit this guy has going on. And I don't know if this really ties into character classes or anything yet. I haven't really got far enough to see if there are any statistical implications. But the fun part here is lineage. So you can actually choose 2 parents from the other people in the character creator. Let's say we start with somebody who looks a little different to me. Let's pick this guy as parent number 1. And then we'll choose somebody else as parent number 2. And you can be a bit more flexible with this, but let's choose her, for example. And then as far as your inheritance goes, you can actually adjust your facial characteristics based on that to give you closer to your mother's face or your father's face, or you can pick 2 fathers or 2 mothers if you want to. So we're going to start with something like this. This guy looks a little bit closer to what I envision. We'll move on to step 2, and from here we can customize things in a lot more clarity. We can get a slightly darker skin tone if we want to. There's obviously a bunch of them available here, but I'm going to pick something that's a little bit closer to my own. Scars and tattoos aren't available yet. We're going to change the hair because the hair color is relatively close to mine. I'm probably a slightly lighter shade of brown, so maybe something closer to that. And then as far as hairstyle, this is the stuff that I really want to change, and obviously there are a bunch of different hairstyles we can go with, but let's try and aim for something that is a little bit closer to what I've got going on right now. I think that's probably the closest to my actual hairstyle. It's probably a little bit longer than I have it right now, but it's going to grow out in a second. My eyebrows are a lot bigger than that, so we'll start with this guy. And the facial hair is really where I have beef with this game, because it has 9 different styles of mustache, and there are only really 2 types of beards. There is this, which is not my style of beard, and then there is this, which is just heavy mutton chops and a mustache. We also have mutton chops on their own, but I think the mutton chops and mustache look is probably as close as it's going to get to how I look in real life. And then there are a bunch of really fine-tuned customization settings, and I'm not going to worry too much about that stuff. I think in the skin tone here we can add a little bit more redness in the cheeks, so that feels a little bit closer to what I have in real life, but I think that's probably where I will leave it. And then you can choose difficulty. We're going to go in on medium realm difficulty as well, and that's basically it. But it's an always online game, so you'll need to be connected to a server, and once you've done a bit of the tutorial, you can invite other people in and play cooperatively if you want to. I think that's where we'll leave it, though, for character creation, and we're just going to name this guy Pixlriffs, as I always do. And let's get into the game.
Before time itself, the realms have existed. Born of curiosity, we opened the first gateway to our endless Feywilds.
So the writing in this game is really cool. It has a very definite idea of its own, tone.
The Fey have long since aided men in harnessing that which we live and breathe. Magic.
Very mystical, very fantastical.
Tolerance was known until your grasp extended reach.
Sounds like a line from The Prestige.
Greed, in the face of power, saw your world caught in ruin. And out flowed the Pale, swallowing all in its path.
So this is the bit that sounds kind of like Enshrouded to me.
Some fled its ever-spreading tongue, seeking refuge in Nightingale, only to be severed from assistance as the pathway between realms collapsed. But perhaps not all is lost. For Nightingale still stands, pushing forward towards progress and enlightenment, humanity's final beacon. Your path thither is winding and full of terror's nascent realm walker. Wilt thou succumb to fey lands beyond thy wit? Or wilt thou endure, find the way homeward and rebuild anew?
Time to find out, I guess. So the art style of this game is the thing that first attracted me to it. It looks gorgeous. Both the intro there with the sort of pre-rendered painted backgrounds and the environments in-game are really stunning. And so that's really what sets it apart from some of the other games I have played recently. We're going to start in this unknown realm, and we get a bit of tutorial to work through before we get to the game proper.
Let my words steer your step.
So this is a first-person game as well, which is an interesting one. I don't think there's a whole lot we can interact with yet, so I'm just going to run on through this cave of bats, and eventually we'll run into Puck, the narrator that we've seen so far.
Now, fleshling, whither wander you lost in our Feywild?
I like the fact that it gives you the option to go up or down at that point. Not quite a moral choice yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Show haste, human.
Uh-oh.
Quickly, before those bound fiends sniff out your despair.
Dude, I absolutely love the statues made of, like, briars. That's so cool.
Shadows abound, yet like a fire's final embers, you refuse to be snuffed out. I come with an offer to guide you to a safer realm, and rebuke death, unlike so many of your kin. Take these blood-stained cards, play them, and let amiable bond be drawn between Fey and fleshling. Give me your hands, that we may be friends, and I shall restore amends. Omosit inkunul ome. Hurry yonder, toward portal and apparatus, so you, bare child of earth, might abscond this nightmare. Travel to the forest byway swiftly. Across the divide a greater gift awaits. Partnerships with we Fey afford many wonders yet unseen.
Alright, and off he dances. So, this little machine here is going to take us to our first proper realm, and the whole navigation system in this is done by way of these cards, these sort of like tarot cards, but also these almost like biological illustration cards. I love this. Such a cool idea. Kind of weird that these are next to these mystical looking portals, though.
The fiends have caught your despairing stench.
Well, time to go. And I'm going to cut out a lot of the load screens because there is a bit of loading screen stuff in this, but we're just going to hop on through to our next realm. Okay, the Forest Byway realm, here we are, and it says a little bit about each of these. They've all got lore attached to them, but for now, we're going to pop in, and immediately, the environment is so beautiful. I'm also going to be skipping through a bit of the dialogue here just to catch up a little faster, because, goodness me, this guy talks a lot.
Count thyself among the fortunate few who manage to flee the Pale's noxious proliferation. Nightingale still stands, but Earth teeters on the brink. The gift I promised should aid thy cause. A hermetic guidebook and pocket watch, with the man-made network sundered. Entrust me to find the trail forward through these byway realms. In the interim, I hear your stomach snarling. Take reprieve from misery, and gorge yourself with a feast fit for a fleshling. Preserve yourself, and I shall return anon. Oh, under this mask, you wonder. I am Puck. Robin to some, Oberon's merry wanderer of the night, the last furtive fay to grace your kind.
Okay, so with him being Puck, I don't necessarily trust him a great deal. If you're used to the sort of Midsummer Night's Dream mythology, and you'll know of Puck as one of those fairies who gets up to trouble a lot of the time. But the first thing we need to do is grab a little bit of food, and then we can start the whole survival crafting thing. I've eaten some, and the deer are running in the woods. But we just need to gather a bunch of stuff, as it mentions up there in the top right. I think a lot of the UI is kind of placeholder right now, so I do hope that gets a little bit of polish as the game wanders through early access. But we've got some sticks and some berries, and we need to acquire a few rocks, which we'll just find on the ground in little clusters. Ignore these larger boulders for now. Somewhere around here we should have access to rocks, and there are of course sticks lying on the ground here as well, so we'll grab a few of those. We'll be needing them to fuel a fire in a little bit. But coming out here, I think I found some rocks around these larger boulders. So here we go, there's some rocks right there on the ground. There's a couple up here as well. Oh, I guess we need some more raw berries. Okay, so it's not going to unlock the recipe for us quite yet. There's a few berry bushes here, though. They're the ones with the purple berries on. Nice and easy to get hold of. And there we go. Now we can press B to open our guidebook and craft ourselves a campfire. The building system in this is taking a little bit to get used to because you place where stuff is in the world, but then to confirm it, you actually have to go in and add the resources that you need. There we go. But now we can use the campfire. We can add fuel to the fire itself, and then in the pot above, we can add in the berries and roast them, I guess, which apparently makes them better food than it does just eating them raw. So there we go. We have our roasted berries, and that's turned 5 berries into a single little mush of berries that we can now eat. So, yeah, if we press F, we can eat those from the offhand. The hotbar is divided into offhand and main hand, and it's a little bit weird because you can't navigate to the offhand stuff via the scroll wheel. So we're going to have to figure that out as we go.
You've avoided embarrassment by staving off starvation. We must carry forth whilst this byway is aligned with another. One which should get us closer to necessities we'll both require. The portal stands nearby. Delay not, for the withering sands await.
Alright, so he basically gives you the card that takes you to the desert realm. So we're going to wander on through there real fast. We shouldn't need to bring too much other stuff with us, but if you want to, you can gather a few more little, like, sticks and whatnot, because this next area is going to teach you how to make a camp. We have desert, and we have the byway card right there, so let's open up the portal and see how we get on in our next realm. Here we are in the desert realm with our desert card, and this is, again, some really interesting lore information for each of these areas, but for the moment, we are hot, so we'll need to step into the shade to talk to Puck to make sure that we don't stand in the sun for too long.
Summer runs through my being as blood runs through yours. Yet I've seen that dew men call sweat flow like rivers in our deserts. Howbeit, enduring the elements is part of the Realm Walker's folly. Whether this pleases or not, without shelter and the means to defend it, you'll not last long. Best to test your nesting prowess and avoid exhaustion, while I scour for the next byway.
I'm glad that it highlights that text so that you sort of know what the relevant information is, and you can skip through the more poetic dialogue that the game throws in here. So we need to build a stick tent, and I'll grab a few of the bushes from around here and then stand in the shade so that we can open this up and see exactly what we'll need. We can track the recipe right here, so that lets us know how many sticks and plant fiber we need. We'll need a bunch more plant fiber in a second for a couple of other things the game wants us to craft, but I know where to get it in this area, thankfully. So this area seems to be fixed. You'll come to the same environment every time, and we should hopefully get a decent amount of sticks and plant fiber just from what's around here. But if we head over this rock and into the next area, there is going to be even more resources available to us. There are bundles of sticks here on the ground as well, along with some rocks, so I'll grab those, but you do have an inventory weight limit, so I will try my best not to exceed that as I go. And don't worry too much about the creatures you see roaming around here. As far as I can tell, these are not hostile to you yet. We haven't had the combat tutorial yet, so while you don't need to worry too much about these things, it's probably best that you leave them alone. We've got everything we need for the tent, though, so over here in the shade is where I'm going to place it for now. We don't need to worry too much about the positioning of this tent because, to be quite honest, we're not going to be sticking around in this desert for all that long, but there we go. Press E to place the resources, and after a second, it will appear. Now it's going to ask us to craft a bedroll, so we'll open this up and take a look at what that needs. We'll track that, because once again, we need a few more sticks. So let me go grab a few more sticks from the environment around here. And one of my hopes for the UI of this game is that it doesn't leave everything to that sort of scroll of actions in the bottom right-hand corner, because I find it really distracting looking at all of these different elements of the UI. It's something I think Enshrouded did a lot better, in my opinion. But there we go, we should have enough for a bedroll now so that we can place that in here, and it's going to go on sort of an angle, I guess, but you can rotate stuff using the scroll wheel, so we'll set that down and press E to place the bedroll and take a short rest. There we go. That shouldn't be too bad. We are getting a little bit hungry, so I'm just going to eat the remaining berries that are in my hotbar. And now we should be able to make a makeshift set of wooden tools. We move over from the building menu to the crafting menu, and that should give us all of the recipes that we need. And we can't select multiple of these, so I'll just start with one, but they basically all need rocks, sticks, and plant fiber in varying proportions. So we'll track the axe first of all. Plenty of rocks and sticks around here, of course, so all we should need to do is find something that will give us plenty of plant fiber. Once again, we can ignore these weird, like, robotic things that are floating around. We can basically just dodge around those and look for areas like this. Down by the water here, you'll find that there are a whole bunch of plants that will give you plenty of plant fiber if you want to get this area taken care of nice and quickly. So from here, we should be able to open up the crafting menu, and we can craft ourselves a makeshift wood axe. We should have enough for a hunting knife there as well. We've got enough for the mining pick already, but we'll need a bit more plant fiber to make the sickle and the torch. So a few plants later, that should just about be enough. There we go, and craft that. And we do need a little bit more plant fiber before the sickle. You'll notice the torch has already gone into my offhand automatically. Let's open this up again. We can add the sickle as well, and there we go. We can find basic resources basically everywhere. This is going to be a lot of tutorial information that I'll just skip through because I know most of this already at this point. And I'll briefly open my inventory, pressing I, so that I can rearrange some of this stuff to make sure it's where I remember putting it. So we're going to put the axe on 1, the pickaxe on 2, the hunting knife on 3, the sickle on 5, and that should be okay. Now, where did Puck end up? Oh, there he is. He's never too far away.
It slipped my skull that Earth's great citadels resulted from decades of toil. Still, I expected more than that lowly truss of sticks and the haphazard cudgel you now hold. You'll need better woodworking skills than that when we reach our destination proper. Let us depart, and speak of your ill-favored constructs no more. One final byway of muck and mire, then this path of beginnings shall fork unbounded into whatever endings you seek.
Alright, so he's kind of negative when you start the game off. Doesn't really like all of my wooden tools and whatnot, but yeah, I should probably get out of the water here because you get wet quite quickly, and that, I guess, weighs you down a little bit, probably lets you run a little less quickly. But we are going to have to wade out towards this portal to input our final set of cards and head out to the swamp biome. So let's head over to the card machine where magically the swamp biome card has appeared, and we can open the portal to our next destination. Before we go, though, there are these hope echoes that you'll find around, and these are basically like diary entries and lore entries, stuff like that. We can take a look at those right now, but I'll let you folks read that, and I'm going to continue on into the portal. Okay, this is the Swamp Byway, and this is where we'll be spending a little bit more time here in the tutorial, because there's some more, I guess, complicated tasks to pursue here, and also some interesting landmarks.
If not for Astaroth's decree, this trek would have been as easy as peach pie. The bound guard fey archways that align with temporal realms. As they're already acquainted with your despair, those fiends will emerge when you try to leave this final byway. While I know man's impulse is to flee, without pluck, you're sure to expire. Prepare yourself, Realm Walker. Once this fen is within our wake, a fine morsel of knowledge I shall bequeath. Ahead lie relics of humanity's future.
Alright, So, let's head out. And the first thing we need to do is attack some stuff. So this is where the combat of the game really comes in, and this is where I'm really not used to the vibe of survival games like this, because I'm not the best at some of the combat, but I will do my best. And I'll do my best to stay out of the swamp as well, because I think in the swamp you end up getting other status effects and whatnot. But if you see these larger kangaroo-like animals running around, these are the things that we need to attack. I'm going to try my best to attack from the back, because I think you get a little bit of extra backstab damage. There we go. And after a while, you'll be able to butcher the animal on the ground so that it drops some meat, some bones, and hopefully some hide as well. Although some of those drops seem to be a little bit circumstantial. I'm not sure you get them 100% of the time. But these things will be hunting some of the smaller animals around here, so you can occasionally pick up a couple of prey animals' supplies as well as these predatory animals, of course. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way so I can see where the drops are. There we go. We've got some hide. We need to make sure we grab the bones as well, which is sometimes a little difficult to see in all of the grass, but the grass makes the environment so pretty that I think it is worth it on occasion. Now let's see if we can find one more of these odd kangaroo things, and that should at least give us a bit of food that we can cook and the resources we need to craft our first piece of equipment. We're not going to get any upgrades to our weapons quite yet. We will get those in the next area, but this is where we learn that we can craft, makeshift clothing for ourselves that will be better off than the suit that I'm already wearing. Let's wander around. There's a dirt road here that actually leads up towards some of the constructs that you've seen here and there. So we might actually make our way up towards one of those if I can. And there's a few extra goodies on those that I think are worth making sure that we collect. So I think we'll head over to this one in this direction. And if there are any more of those animals along the way, I will try my best to attack them, staying clear of the areas that get too waterlogged. Yep, here is one. Let's see if we can take this guy on head on. Oh, you need to be careful about those jump attacks, though. They'll get you. And you need to make sure you leave enough stamina so that you can attack. So that yellow meter is the one I'm paying attention to. And I'm going to try my best to make sure that that doesn't run out while I'm in combat with these things. But after a while, it will replenish naturally on its own. Should get the bones and the hide that we need from that, and a little bit of extra meat as well. And there you go. We can craft ourselves a makeshift capelet, which is basically a slightly better piece of body armor for us. And this is the road that's going to lead us up towards that observation platform looking thing over there. So maybe we can grab a little bit of stuff as we go. But we are getting a little bit close to starving. So what I think I'm going to do, since it's sort of on the way back to where we need to go anyway, is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to find our crafting station here, and I'm going to place down another campfire so we can cook some of this meat that we got. We'll add the fuel in from our inventory. We'll add a few sticks in here. I might need to get a few more of those because I can imagine that we will need a few more from the area around here. We got some plant fiber that we can use as fuel as well, I think. But back at the campfire, we'll add some more fuel from our inventory. We'll ignite the fire, and from there, we should be able to roast some of this meat that we got. And we can actually add in all 5 of those and hit craft, and that should cook up some of the meat for us while I go around and collect a few more sticks so that we can keep the fire going. Alright, that's all of the meat cooked, and we're going to make our way up the path here, which should lead us in the direction of that tower. And the tower has all of these balloons and interesting things on the side that really indicate that it was not put here by the natural environment. This is very constructed looking. There seems to be a kind of human outpost. I don't think it's going to be fairy related at all. Let's take a quick look inside of here and see what we can get, because there will be a few items lurking around the place which are going to be worth grabbing. We got some tin ore in that bucket, so that's an interesting one. There are also hope echoes here, which are more of those diary entries I mentioned before. So have fun reading that if you want to pause the video and read that. But on our way up here, there'll be a couple of other buckets and bits and pieces here and there. I'm not going to pick up absolutely everything because of the inventory weight limit I mentioned before. And I'm still not certain if I can come back here at any stage, but there may be a couple of other bits that we want to grab. Like, for example, down here on this platform, there are some ingots of metal, so we can maybe pop down and grab those. Although I believe as we get further up this scaffold, there were even a few chests lying around that might have some contents that'll be of use to us for the rest of our adventure. Making our way all the way up to the top. I don't think there's anything up on there. Oh, there are a couple of ingots over there, but I can't really reach that at the moment. This in the corner is what I was looking for, though, because this chest, if we open that, has a couple of really interesting things. There's some ceramic sandstone, which seems to just have a placeholder graphic right now. And there's also some ammunition in here, although we don't have any kind of firearm yet, so I'm not certain when that's going to come in useful at all. When I was just learning the ropes here, when I was getting used to the controls, I actually found an umbrella up here, which allowed me to glide down from further down this tower, but it doesn't look like there's an umbrella around at the moment, although there is another chest up here. So let's take a look at this. Ooh, that has some tin ingots in there. You can right-click on any of these to get them out of the chest quickly, or you can just choose the take all option that should be present there. But it looks like we didn't get lucky and find an umbrella this time around, so we're going to head down the platform again and see if there are any chests lurking in any of these other corners before we depart. There's a bottle of some kind here. Oh, is that wine? Oh, nectar. That's what it says. I see. Right. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, and there's a chest up here that I missed on this first platform. Oh, there we go. Right. So there's some thread in there, some lumber, and a charm. All right, well, we'll take all of those as well, but I'm a little bit worried about my inventory space being at a premium right now. I'm not going to go down there and get those because the fall looks like it's probably going to kill me if I fall from that platform, and I can't really see a great way back up from there right now. Oh, and one of those predatory animals is just making its way in, so we'll scavenge from a couple more of these chests. Oh, there's a card in here. Well, I've got to fight this thing to make sure I can grab that card quickly because I don't want to leave without it, actually. I'm kind of curious how the cards are going to work once we get access to a portal that we can use more frequently. Because the next stage we're going to is going to be our kind of home realm. It's at least where we'll be starting out, and a fortitude card increases your resistance to injury. Interesting. So I wonder how we end up using those. Either way, I'm going to take all of them for now and see if there are any other chests around here at the base of the tower. But if there are not, then we can make our way over to the portal and make this capelet that it says we need to construct before we continue our adventure. Looks like that's everything for the tower. The portal is over there on the hill, by the way. It's very easy to spot, so we shouldn't have any trouble getting to it. We can also, if I open up my inventory here, let me quickly tab over to that. If we have any of this stuff that I want to just get rid of, like the tin and whatnot, I don't know if I'm really going to use it right now, or these infusions that I'm not certain quite what they do at this point, or even the ammunition. We can choose to extract from that, which is how you get hold of essence. And essence is something that you just use to repair any of your equipment. And it's very simple to repair the equipment we have at the moment because it's very simple equipment. So if you find any of this stuff weighing you down, instead of just dropping it, right-click on it, choose extract, and that'll convert it into essence. So we can use that to repair our tools and whatnot once they start to take a little bit of damage, which they will have from killing some of these animals so that we can acquire the resources we've got so far. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to hit that crafting menu up, and we're going to make that makeshift capelet since we have all of the resources that we need for that. So let's grab that. We also need to set up another campfire so that we can make some more healing salve, although we already have the roasted meat it's asking me to make. So maybe I can head back to my other campfire that I set up over there. For now, though, let's quickly open my inventory, and I'm going to equip the capelet from my inventory because it has a slightly better defensive rating than the jacket that I was already wearing. So that's what I'm going to extract into some essence dust before this thing jumps at me. I saw it sneaking up on me in the inventory. I saw that. There we go. All right, let's grab this. Looks like I'm doing okay with the combat so far, which is nice. Maybe I've gotten used to being jumped on by these kangaroos at this point. Here we are back over at the campfire. Looks like it's burnt out, but we can add a bit more fuel to it. And if we go into crafting here, healing salve, or some people pronounce it salve, I guess, but that's now in here. We get the bones and the plant fiber in there, and we can craft up to 5 of that. So let's at least make sure that we've got the 3 that it wants us to use. And maybe we'll save the fiber and the bones for something else once we get into the next area. There we go, we got 3 of those, and as it mentions, the next thing to do is to open up our inventory and to use the essence to repair the stuff that has been damaged so far. So I'm going to do that for the knife because we have a bit of a combat challenge ahead of us.
You've stolen life.
Oh. Did not realize I could get knocked out of dialogue with that, but there you go. Let's headshot this thing a couple of times, and hopefully it's not going to deal too much damage to me in the process. There we go. All right. A few extra bones and hide for me moving into the next area then. Didn't realize that thing was going to sneak up on me while I was talking to Puck. There you go.
Stolen life to preserve your own. A necessity, and forthwith a temporal realm of abeyance awaits. And so too, Nightingale. First, you must oblige your inner essence and choose the landscape that beckons. Ah, no need for words. Only thought.
So this is actually an important choice because this is choosing where you want to set up your first proper base. I'm going to choose forest because it just seems the most appealing to me.
The mystery of the halt. Play your cards, but beware. The bound will storm once the archway rouses. Crack their pitiable little skulls. Show no mercy.
Alright, so the bound are basically the goblins of this world. They're kind of the basic enemies that we're going to encounter, and so quickly before we go anywhere else, I am just going to rearrange some of this so I know where the healing items are, because we might need a couple of them as we attack some of these enemies. We're going to make our way around the swamp here to the portal that I showed you folks earlier. It's just that triangular-shaped structure over there. It shouldn't take us too long to get over there, and we can probably follow a pathway once we find one, but you might also want to check out this other scaffold in case it has any more treats for us. I do like having an umbrella, especially as we move on to a more permanent base area. Yeah, since it's right here, why don't we check it out? Let's see if there's anything that we can take that won't be too heavy to carry, because I'm a little bit worried about getting over-encumbered before we have to fight anything. Anything down here? Oh, okay, so there's a chest on there, but I'm not going to risk getting onto that platform until I have a means to get down safely, so that's where I will take a look around and see if I can find an umbrella. What's in this chest? Let's take a look. Oh, another card, a might card. We also have some stone and lumber. I will take all of these, but the stone might get a little too heavy, so got to keep that in mind as something that we can probably ditch if we need to. Up in here in this chest, there we go, that's what I was looking for. A simple umbrella, but one that will be perfect for our needs. Let's drop that in there. It immediately goes into your hotbar, which is great. And the umbrella is something that we can equip from the inventory, so let's open that with I and let's equip that. That's going to go into the 0 spot right here, and it's something you can hold over your head and then hold down space while you travel, and it will give you a little bit of a glide, but that's dependent on stamina, so just be careful. You're probably still going to take some full damage if you try and jump off the top of this place. So that's really what I was after, and on the way down we might check out some of the other chests. We already looked at that one, so we don't need to worry about that, but I think I'm just going to make my way down now. I've got the umbrella. Let's switch back into having something like the meat or the healing salve in my offhand, just so I can use those in the case of a fight, because I am going to need to eat, actually. I think we're getting a little hungry. It says I'm starving in the bottom right, and that's the problem, right? I really feel like you should be able to pay better attention to messages that say you're starving, but they just kind of pop up in the bottom right, and you're supposed to look at the meters in the bottom left. Now, which direction was the portal? Let me step out from here and get my bearings. I think it might have been up that way. Yes, there it is. You can really tell which of these constructions are human and which ones are fey, because the fey stuff is all mystical archways and stone stuff with magical portals, and the human stuff looks very mechanical. And this whole thing is done in Unreal Engine, which really puts me in mind of Dishonored when you play it, and I had a lot of fun playing Dishonored back in the day, so I feel like this is going to be a fun game to dip into every now and again. So here is our portal. We got a couple of these things in the way that we're probably going to have to dispatch before the enemies arrive, although maybe they've just run away because they know a fight is coming and they're not too keen on sticking around for that. Let's throw in our biome cards, and this is the abeyance card, which is the one that links this to a home base that we can set things up at. We've got another hope echo here.
While the realms lie.
And this is the point at which we need to stay here with our eyes on this portal because the enemies are going to sweep on through. I will eat a little bit more food in a second, but we should also ready our healing salves just in case we need to heal up at a pinch against these guys. It does seem like there's a way of getting headshots in this game, so I'm going to try my best to face these guys head on and try and get a few headshots, but there you go. I took a bit of damage in that fight, so I should be able to, there we go, dispatch these guys nice and easily and pick up whatever these bound bristles are that they drop. Not sure how important they are. I don't really see them being used in any crafting recipes, but we will see. Oh, and it started to rain. Let me put up my umbrella temporarily before the next wave arrives. There they are. Doesn't take them too long to show up, though. And for now, they should run at us like so, and we can get a couple of headshots in, get a couple of quick stabs. But this is where I feel like the combat stuff feels a little bit overwhelming, especially when you run out of stamina and have to run away from them. Let me quickly heal up using that healing salve. And there you go. Once you get a couple of headshots in, they usually go down pretty quickly. Where's the last guy? I knew he was around here somewhere, but there we go. There we go. Get wrecked. Yeah, running out of stamina for this mid-fight is a problem. But there we go. The portal is now open. We can pick up the last of these items in case those become relevant later. And let's hop on through the portal to what will hopefully become our new home.
Realm Walker, your path forward is winding and full of terrors. Save yourself. Survive the realms. And rebuild all that has been lost.
Hey, that was the opening title sequence. All right, let's see what fate has given us. Okay, the Abeyance Forest Realm. This is going to be our first home, and immediately incredibly pretty, so that's a good start. What's up, Puck?
We made it. This realm has long been forgotten by the Fae, left in limbo, not unlike you. How fitting. And thus, here is yours to put down roots. But beware. In short time, darkness will descend, and with it, Stygian perils. Laying foundations will keep you intrepid, child of Earth.
I always love when a game can fit in the phrase Stygian perils.
While you play carpenter, there are nooks in these surrounding wilds I must scrub for the knowledge I pledged.
All right, so at this point we can set up our base, and we can also set up multiplayer if people want to join your game. That's how you can get started with that. Now, there are already going to be a few interesting features of this landscape. There are a few structures already in place, but this looks different to the one that I started out in with my previous character when I was testing things, and that's kind of the fun of this, I think, is that you actually get a little bit of variety. But you'll see there's kind of a gateway in front of this that prevents you from entering until you've made a bit more progress, I think. So for now, we're just going to run around collecting some resources. We will need a bit of stone and some of these loose rocks in order to make our estate cairn. So I can break this with a pickaxe. And one thing I really like about this game is the physics of objects that are breakable. Like, they actually feel like rocks breaking apart instead of you just bashing away at a rock and it not really doing anything until some resources come out of it and it depletes entirely. That should hopefully be enough to set up our estate cairn, though. Oh, we need more rocks. Okay, sure. So we can at least choose a location for it. And I guess we'll set it up at the bottom of this hill down here. That will at least allow us to place resources in it from the stone that we've got. And that should mean we aren't encumbered anymore, so that we can go around and grab a few more of these rocks and still sprint and everything. But there's plenty of stuff here to get us started. So I guess we'll set up on the edge of this forest here, add the remainder of the rocks, and this is going to be our home, which we can rename. And I'm going to, optimistically, I guess, name this one Rivendell in honor of the elves. There we go. So now that will unlock a bunch of crafting recipes, including the stuff that you need to build a platform here and everything. And we're going to probably set up a basic house before this video wraps up.
Your tenacity overrules the gusts of fate, and this Fae you have pleased. Settled here, you'll soon wish to venture farther. Should you hear that siren call, you'll require unbraided cards and the power to play them. Fortunately, both are close at hand. Across this realm lie sites of power sealed by your kin long ago, each granting access to ever more distant spheres. Nearest, though, the Antiquarian. Formidable enough for one so green. You must first gain entry, passing through a seal forged by those last children of Earth, who claimed reverence for our infinite wisdom. Their gates bar access to those unworthy, but I see that strange, hopeful spark within you. Once within, delve ever deeper. Toward the pedestal. Hurry now, fleshling, and prepare. The infinite awaits.
Okay, so at this point, we get to the stage where you can basically make progress in a non-linear fashion, I suppose. You can start to set up a base and everything, but the main objective is to increase the level of your equipment. So all of the stuff that I'm wearing right now, we're going to aim to make better stuff. And Look at this man. This man has seen some things. Anyway, the first thing I want to do is set down a foundation so that we can start building some stuff on there, because your workstations are actually more effective if you put them inside a house, if you build them on a floor, put a roof over them, etc., etc. So we're going to take a quick look at the building menu here. We're going to find a foundation. We'll probably make a foundation out of stone to begin with. And you can place these without having the resources yet, and then come back with the resources later in order to actually construct these. So right now I have 1 stone block I can add to that. I just need to go and acquire 5 more, and we should be able to make that foundation, which is nice and easy because there's loads of stone around, all of the breakable stuff at least, and there are a few other bits and pieces that we can discover along the way. Like this, for example. There's a little bit of food or something there. That's some roasted meat, I guess. But yeah, we are now weighed down by my inventory again, so one of the other things I'm going to do quickly is make myself a storage container. That way I can dump off some of the stuff that I found, like some of the stuff that I can't actually interact with yet. And I should be able to do that here in building. Looking at storage, you should be able to make an angling basket out of plant fiber. So basically just a little woven container that for now I'll put down here by our house cairn so that it's nice and easy to find. We can add that in there, and in here I'll just drop off all of this stuff that I don't really know what to do with yet. That includes a bunch of rocks and everything, but we'll probably be gathering a few more of those as we go. But a lot of this is just sort of mystical gubbins that I don't really know what I'm doing with at the moment. For now, though, that'll give us a little bit more room to pick up some of these rocks, and we can start to build stone foundations for our house. There we go. That is 1 stone foundation built. I think I want to make a fairly large platform for our house to begin with, so I'll try and gather a few more rocks from the surroundings, but then we can start to gather some plant fibers and logs and other things so that we can make some wooden walls and potentially some stairs, a roof, that kind of thing. Let's place a couple more foundations. Let's put 1 there. Let's maybe make this a 3 wide section here. And now I should be able to look at this and it'll add in the stuff as we go. So there we go. It now has made a couple more of those. We can pull the plants out of there, and we have a strong stone foundation for our first house. I'm going to put the remainder of the rocks away in here, and I'll probably pick up something a little lighter, like the thread that we have here, so I can put the rest of that rock away, and that should give me plenty of room for a bit more wood, because I need to chop down a couple of trees, and we can make some wood walls for our first house. I'm also going to be grabbing all of the stuff that we need to make the crafting stations that we didn't get to bring with us from the previous realms. But just look at the way the destructible stuff works. It's not exactly the most realistic physics, but it's getting there. It's definitely one of the more impressive engines I've seen as far as felling trees and breaking rocks and that kind of stuff. There we go, we're all weighed down again, but now we should be able to make some wooden walls. I think I want to add a stone door frame, so I'll mark that out in the center there. But then if we go to the wooden crude windows, we'll need some sticks for these in a second. We'll place some solid walls around the back here as well, but we'll maybe add some windows on this side since it looks like the view will be a little nicer over here. And now, looking at the house, we can choose to auto-add the resources for all of the different panels in the building. So I can throw all of the wood that I've already acquired in there, and it goes purple to indicate that some of this build is in progress, but these darker panels don't actually have any resources committed to them yet. So let's walk around grabbing a few more sticks. We can also use the sickle to get, I think, a few more sticks and plant fibers from this, but that also consumes stamina to use, so I'm going to do that somewhat sparingly. We can run up and add a few more in that, and there we go. We've already added the ones with the windows and a couple of the back walls there as well. Let's chop down a couple more trees to get some wood. We can also take care of some of these fallen logs around here. But it sounds like there are some enemies afoot, and it looks like they've all spawned in over there, so maybe that's something I need to pay attention to. All right. Yep, they are coming at me once again. It seems like they hang out around some of the structures in this area, so I should be a little careful of that. And, oh gosh, I'm losing a little bit of health here. Let's quickly... Yep, there we go. I was trying my best to heal as I went, but unfortunately I have to choose give up. However, this should just revive me somewhere nearby with little memento mori cards, and I should respawn. But obviously in a multiplayer server, you have the option to be revived by your teammates. Now, I should be able to get over here, take all of the stuff that I had, and Puck is here with a lesson for me, but these guys are still around, and I wonder if I can take them down. Let me quickly use the healing salve once again to make sure that I regain some of that health, and maybe I can eat something quickly out of my offhand before I take these guys on again. Alright, let's give them a try. Let's rush them. They're not going to know what hit them. There you go. Get a headshot. Get a headshot. It is a little bit rough when you're being rushed by multiple enemies, but I guess that's why they want people to play this game multiplayer. Puck, it's all well and good you floating around there, but maybe a little help next time? These guys are supposedly like level 10 enemies right now, so this is all to do with the difficulty that we chose when we started this world, and there we go. That should be the final blow. All right. Now, this guy dropped a couple of interesting objects. Arcane Wick, Bound Ichor. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Puck wasn't especially helpful for that, but I don't see any more enemies out there in the wilderness.
No pearly gates for you just yet, my friend. Of course, the Zephyr is tasked only with rescuing you.
Oh, okay.
However, the disquieting sensation of death will linger afterward.
Okay, cool. So he's just saying that when you respawn, you have to go back and get your stuff, basically. That's all he's saying. But it seems like the enemies spawned in because I approached this structure a little too closely. So I wonder if there's anything I can actually do here. I haven't really tried any of this. Okay, there's a puzzle core here, a hope echo, and favor of soaring. Okay, interesting. I wonder what that's going to do. Okay, and release this as well. Oh, right. That's what that does. Right. Okay, so Favor of Soaring, that... I don't know if that's going to respawn, if that's an effect that I have for a short period of time, but that basically gave me a really high jump, it looks like. Whoa, okay. But can I do anything about that? Do I need to do anything about that? I don't think so. And I can't interact with this as far as I can tell, so, yeah, who knows? That might have just been a one-off fun thing to grab. Let me see if I can get up to the top of here, though. Yep, kind of. I can kind of get up here. Up here to the statue. Fortunately for me, it gives me a bit of a slow fall as well, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. Interesting. So that's an experience I didn't have the first time I tried this game out, and there we go, a bit more of the junk from the Bound guys. For now, though, I'm a bit more determined just to get my house in order, so let's see if we can get a few more logs out of this log that's lying on the ground. Only one or two from that, so maybe we can try and get a few more from the trees nearby. Timber! And I've learned not to stand underneath these things when they fall. At least it gives you enough time to get out of the way, though. These mushrooms are glowing for some reason, so I'm going to grab those along with all of the wood that just got left behind by that tree. Alright, we have almost all of this set up. We do need to add a wall here at the front of the house. I think I'll just add another solid wall right there since I already have the resources for that. There we go. Now let's see if we can grab... Whoa! Turns out that's still active. Did not realize. Let's see if we can grab a couple of rocks. And I wonder if I can kind of cheat my way up to the top of that structure using this massive, like, assisted jump that I have now. Or if it's not going to let me do that. Maybe that's skipping ahead a little bit too easily. Certainly helps me getting around, though. I can jump directly into my house without needing to use the door, which is good because I don't have a door frame yet. Need a little bit more rocks for that, although I did leave some rocks in here, so maybe we can add those in. Ta-da! There we go. And a beautiful starter house is kind of mine. I need to add in a door, maybe a roof of some kind, but Puck has more information for me.
How far you've come, and yet how little you possess. Across these wilds, your kind have proliferated with haste, industrious and more than willing to avail amidst your ever-growing need.
This is one of the problems, I think, with the game right now, is that he's still talking, and all of this is blurred out while it tries to give you tutorial information in the center of the screen. But the idea is that we can head out in this area in search of essence traders, who we can actually buy certain crafting recipes and other resources from, and we can actually open up the map of the area to see where they are. So there is an essence trader over here, Wilhelmina Sass, and there we go, an essence trader is right there. So there's an antiquarian site of power, and that's where we need to go to find the means to open antiquarian realms, which continues the progression of the game. So once we've established a bit of a camp here, we can set out in search of them. I'm going to add some stairs up to my front door, and we can maybe add some stairs inside the house if it were a little larger, but I think we'll start with this for now. Well, I've added in those resources, and in a second, there we go. It's made the stairs for me so I can get on up into my house, and since it has now started raining, we could do with a roof over our head, or I could just put up my umbrella, and that gets rid of the wet status effect. One thing that's worth noting, though, something I discovered in my initial playthrough of this, is that if you want to make a campfire in here, we can, of course, set that up, but if it doesn't have a roof over it, you cannot ignite a campfire in the rain, which makes perfect sense, of course, but it is something we need to be aware of if we're going to start setting up a base here. You can't leave your campfire outside. Unintuitive though it seems, it should have a shelter over its head. But it seems like that assisted jump has now worn off, so I'm back to using the umbrella to glide. We can add some sticks in here, and I wonder if we've got anything that we can really craft at this point. We can make some more healing salve, of course. And we could roast a little bit more of the meat that I've acquired, because I did take down a couple more of those kangaroos. So let us craft that. We'll get the campfire a-cooking, and I'll gather up a few more sticks before we run out of fuel inside of there. But yeah, it does look like the campfire has been put out thanks to the rain. So we can add a little bit more fuel later, but we won't be able to ignite it right now. And we don't need to worry too much about the meat, I suppose. But what we should do is get a bedroll, because I'm starting to get a little tired here. The campfire actually draws a line to it to indicate that if it is well lit, warm, and comfortable in this area, then the bedroll is going to give us some slightly better benefits. Obviously, right now it's kind of soggy, but we'll deal with that as we go here. All we should need is a few more sticks, and we should be able to craft the bedroll and pop it in here. But I would love to get a roof over my head at this point, because the thunder and lightning is starting, and there are actually hailstorms in-game, which if you don't have an umbrella, are going to deal damage to the player. So let's put a roof over our head real fast. We'll probably just have a crude flat roof for now. And that at least is going to give us a bit of protection from the rain so that we can use our bedroll to take a short rest and replenish that tiredness. There we go. I'm also going to grab a little bit more to eat since my hunger meter is going down, and I wonder what this bramble liquid is going to do for us. Oh, that's very nice, and that actually increased my health capacity by a considerable amount, so that nectar was worth having. Let me quickly use a healing salve as well. I think I can probably increase how fast my health goes up like that. And I think at this point I should probably be repairing or replacing some of my equipment, because I think we will probably need some better knives and whatnot before long. There we go. We've got plenty of essence, though, so we should be able to do that. We can purchase a simple sewing bench from the essence trader, but we should also, I think at this point, be able to craft a simple workbench, and that will allow us to acquire some more tools, including the tools that we need to climb. Apparently you can make climbing picks with this, so that's kind of interesting. I think that one tree might have given us all the wood I needed, weirdly, but you can hear me taking a bit of damage. That's actually because of the storm. There is hail happening right now, and I need to make sure that I'm not out in the hail, because I do take a little bit of damage from that. Being under the shelter of trees apparently doesn't quite count, but that should be fine. The hail will pass in a short amount of time, and in the meantime, I can quickly chop down one more tree. And once that's coming down, I'll put the umbrella up. It's not going to protect me from the tree, but it will protect me from the rain. And that'll get us a few more of these, including some more essence dust that's just going to pop out every so often when we do one of these little tasks. And there seems to still be something glowing over here, but I think that was a patch of mushrooms that I already got. Now, back in the shelter of my house, it's a little bit safer to put my umbrella away, and let's put down our first crafting workbench. There we go. We'll place that over here in the corner, like so, and we'll make sure that that is in place. The building traits here is what it's explaining, so that's all of the stuff like making sure it's on a foundation, making sure it's near to a nice warm fire, which we can now switch on, actually, so we can warm up a little bit by this. And the workbench will allow us to make stuff like a simple axe and mining pick, a better hunter's knife, but we'll need to get hold of straps. And to do that, I think we need to craft a tanning station. So we'll need a few more sticks and plant fiber, you know, the same old at this point. We're going to leave the tanning station over here by the bed, and we should be able to add some resources to that already, but we need a few more sticks and plant fiber before that's going to be a permanent addition to our home. So we'll head back out into the rain to grab those. Once again, we could be grabbing them with the sickle, and that will allow me to keep the umbrella over my head, which I'm a little happier with, actually. But at least there are some tasks like that we can still do in the rain, since they only require one hand. Now, back inside, we should be able to commit the sticks and the plant fiber to that, and that's going to allow us to tan the hide that we've gotten hold of from the predators that we have fought into straps, and the straps are going to allow us to make some slightly better tools. And tool upgrades are definitely going to be worth it at this stage. We can make ourselves a simple wood axe, which is going to last a lot longer than the one we've got right now, but I think a hunting knife will probably do us better for the minute. We can autofill that and hit craft, and when we collect that, that's going to pop up in my hotbar immediately. So you know what? I'm going to open up my inventory. I'm going to move the hunting knife there so I make sure that that's the one that we need to get rid of, and we can extract that for essence so that I can use it to repair the new hunting knife, which already has a better rating. And you can see my equipment rating is going up already, which means that we will have a slightly better chance of unlocking some of these sites that we need to go to. But there we go. Now we have a better axe, a better pickaxe, and a better hunting knife. So we should be able to go out, umbrella in hand, in search of where these antiquarian traders are. Let's take another quick look on the map. We can set waypoints on the map as well. So if I add a little world beacon here, we'll add the top hat in there. That should now appear, there we go, on the HUD. So it gives us a slightly easier icon to follow so that we can get over to where these traders are. And I think I'll show you folks this aspect of the game before we wrap up for the day here. But I tell you what, that nectar has given me a lot more stamina and a lot more health. So definitely going to have to find out how to make that stuff as soon as possible. Really cool to see some of the other aspects of the world here as well. A couple of the trees just popped in there, but there's a shipwreck over there, it seems, and there are these mystical monuments with floating sections around, so very curious to see how those factor into our gameplay here. Now, I'm not really certain how to get out of the glide, if there's a way I can direct myself downward without taking fall damage, but the glide seems very, like, shallow angle at this point right now, so maybe we should avoid using that to get down from any high places at this point. Oh, there's a boar out here. Maybe I can get the drop on this with my new hunting knife. Yeah, there we go. Couple of quick hits, one to the face, and oh gosh, there's another one, and it gave me a huge hit of knockback there. Drained some of my stamina too. Alright, there we go. That's the second boar taken down. I don't know if there will be any others out here, but we can carve up these animals to get a few more of the bits of hide and stuff that we'll need to make straps for more equipment. That's actually kind of perfect that we did that on the way here. Oh, and there's some more hide, some fabled hide, just kind of hanging around on some of these rocks. Well, I'll grab that, but we've just about made it to the outpost where we should find some of our NPCs. The Essence Trader is here, and this is Wilhelmina Sass, who is the person that we are supposed to be coming here to talk to, I guess. A visitor. Okay, not all of this is voice acted, it turns out. But, okay, there are a few options we can give here, a few dialogue choices. And she's a columnist for Nightingale's finest paper, the Sunday Courier. Okay, interesting. And so we can talk about protection. And yeah, this is basically explaining the fact that we can hire one of the NPCs here to help us with different tasks. We can say this is kind of reasonable. We're recruiting some survivors. They can harvest resources for you. And they can also help us in combat a little bit as well. We can also ask about rumors here, and the ones that are highlighted with a little white icon next to them seem to be the most important dialogue options. So it looks like we can maybe... Oh, we can we can give her a bit of information in exchange for the information that she has, and says that there are the forest antiquarian realms that maybe we should be traveling to next. Gives us the name of an NPC that we should look for. And that's probably it for Wilhelmina. There's a few other things that we can ask about for lore purposes, but I think we'll say that is all for now. And this Essence Trader here is the one who will sell us crafting stations, so we have a little bit of essence already that we built up from picking it up off the ground, and if we look into crafting here, we need 55 essence in order to get a simple sewing bench. So we do actually need to... Oh, hello. Sorry about that. He's suddenly behind me with an axe. That was actually quite scary. But if we add in a few bits and pieces for them here, so if we add in some of the bedrolls and campfire that they need for their little outpost here, I believe that little chest next to them should open up. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked when I did this before. This monument that they're all standing around, by the way, is one of the dungeons, I guess, that we need to go into once we have increased our gear rating enough. So I assume there is some sort of physical challenge in there that we need to be well equipped for. In the meantime, though, we should be able to put that bedroll there. We can get their campfire set up. And I think just a little bit more plant fiber from the bushes and sticks around here That should allow us to craft this last bedroll, and lo and behold, the magic chest opens up and gives us 24 essence dust. So we can take that, and that will be enough to add to what we already have to buy that sewing bench from this guy. So let's grab that. We now have, I think, the recipe for that, although we need to craft it ourselves. And of course, these bedrolls can be used for a short rest if we need one, but let's talk to Irving here, who seems to be for hire, so let's recruit him. I don't know what that cost. It doesn't seem to cost anything in particular, but it seems like Irving is now with us, and using the map, I can fast travel back to my home point. We should be able to, oh yeah, travel to respite. There we go. So we can confirm that. We immediately get warped back there, and after a few seconds, Irving shows up. So he is now here, and he'll start taking down resources around here that I can wander over and collect so that I don't have to do all of the resource gathering myself. And that's one of the things I think sets this game apart from a few other survival crafting games, is that you can sort of automate things with the help of these guys, whose inventory you can manage, giving them tools that will kind of assign them to different tasks in the area. So if we give this guy an axe, he's about to go and start chopping down all of the trees. With the pickaxe that he has right now, he'll start mining rocks for us if we hang around the rocks, but he will follow you in a kind of tight area, so he's really just there to help you out with whatever tasks you decide to do at the time. But I think, folks, that is where we're going to wrap things up for this look at Nightingale, and I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the game. It's an odd one, but an interesting one, and I think it's got a lot of work to be done on it still. It is still in early access, but I'm having kind of a fun time checking out other games like this and Enshrouded and seeing what all is possible. Is there a thing walking around out here? Oh boy, there is. And so there is still a lot of magical stuff to discover around every corner in this game. But that's where we'll wrap things up for today. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care. Bye for now.